So you might might have a face mask, but brand that you are using to actually sell face masks. I mean, given the times, a lot of companies are pivoting. A lot of people are generating side money, hustle, and might actually want to protect the brand of their face mask as well. So this is, again, how to step by step how you go about doing it for your LLC or corporation, for an entity. As always, the first place to start is by going to the site here, trademarks-application-process/filing online. For the purposes of this video, though, in case you missed that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to start off with doing just a straight Google search. So let's start with, go to google.com and then just search for trademark USPTO and file. And that should bring it right up. So first non-ad hit, apply online. And once you click on initial application forms, it'll take you to one more. And this button, start your application in TEAS, is going to pop up the TEAS application system. Now, one thing I want to point out is that prior to starting the episode, I actually logged into USPTO.gov. If you don't have a USPTO.gov account, they're really easy to make. So when you're ready, what you're going to do is you're going to click Start Your Application in TEAS. Again, it's taking me directly to this page. Ordinarily, though, it would take you to the login page. Now, we're going to do a Plus application today. I just want to remind everybody, the Plus application is $50 cheaper than the standard. However, you're limited to the actual descriptions that are provided to you by the TEAS system. So you don't have any latitude to type in descriptions of goods or services that you're providing. Now, that being said, there are some exceptions because some of the options in the TEAS Plus application actually allows you to enter some text, but again, it's very limited. If you want the more latitude, then you got to pay up $50 more and do the standard. And that was yesterday's episode. We're probably going to do another episode tomorrow on the standard for a logo. And another thing that I want to explain before we get into this application, there are stringent requirements for the logo. So in this case, in this example, we're going to be, I'll show you, we'll be doing face mask. This is our face mask that we're selling. And so I just want to make sure that I reiterate, these are the requirements for the logo. So you see the logos down here, and it has to be 250 by 944. That means that in no dimension can the logo be less than 250 pixels. And in no dimension can it be more than 944 pixels. So just keep that in mind. That's the range. And again, I generally recommend not claiming color as a feature of the mark. So just keep that in mind. So you're going to want to submit a black and white image for the logo. And then lastly, again, JPEG, please don't. If you try to submit a PNG, you're going to get an error. And I've made that mistake. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and log in. So we're already logged in, but we're going to start this application. So we're going to click TEAS Plus, again, $225 per class. And we're going to do it as if we were doing it for our company. So no attorney. So click continue. Here you're going to put the owner of the mark. So we're going to put in our company because the company's, in this example, the company is selling the face mask for $5 a piece. Now, this is a corporation, California corporation. When you select corporation, it's going to prompt you to enter the state that you're incorporated in. So you can see here, so we're going to enter California. If you're a limited liability company, you would click this checkbox here, and it would prompt you for the same. It would say, hey, what state were you registered in? DBAs, use them judiciously. Only use the DBA if you are, in fact, a registered DBA. And for mailing address, we're going to use our corporate address. And for the zip, corporate zip. Phone number and fax, these are optional. I like to leave them blank. So that's what we'll do here. And then email address, unfortunately, you have to enter an email. So that'll be our email. And then I've been liking to enter URL. Again, not required. URL is not required, but you definitely need an email and you need an address. So just keep that in mind. I like to keep as much off the public record as possible. Like most of you, no one likes to get spam, especially phone calls. So that's why I avoid putting my number in here. But the system will prompt me. It will say, hey, it'd be easier to communicate with you if you gave us your phone number. Honestly, most examiners will reach out to you via email anyways. So it's not that all big a deal. But if you do have a corporate facing phone number, feel free to enter it in that last page. Now, when you click continue, we're going to do special form marks in these next series of episodes. We were doing standard character marks before. Let's now turn over to do special form marks. So we're going to pick the file of the logo. And I made it, again, like I said, I made it beforehand. So let me just select it. And again, it's got to be, you got to have the right size. So I made it so that the maximum length, it's a lengthwise logo, was 944 pixels. So I shouldn't get any error. And as you can see, here's our logo. And again, I remind you, black and white, okay? The nice crisp looking. And this was a JPEG. So keep that in mind. For literal element, you have to actually input the literal elements. In other words, the text that appears on your logo. So we're going to do a adibiip group, and then protecting innovator. All right. Now, we're not going to claim color as a feature of the mark, but if we did have a distinctive color, a color that in fact served as a source identifier, so if it was a really distinctive, unique color that consumers identify with our brand, then you might want to consider filing a color trademark. We're not going to claim color as a feature of the mark because we want to be broad. Now, for the description, I usually just do my best to try to describe what's in the actual logo. Now, I want to stress that if the examiner has an issue with this text that we selected here, it's okay. They'll probably enter an amendment or an office action requesting us to amend the description. So that's all good. We're going to hit continue. Now we're going to get to the part where we actually have to, this description field, oh, okay, you can disregard errors like this. This is just a warning. But when you get to here, this is where you really feel the limitations of the TEAS Plus application. Remember, it's $50 in the TEAS standard application, but we're limited. We're constrained by the description of goods and services that we provide. So when you click Add Goods and Services, face masks are going to be under Class 25, unless the face mask is for protective purposes or medical purposes, in which case it'd be in Class 9 or Class 10. So let's search for face mask. And when we do that, we'll see we have some options. The best and closest that we're going to get to is probably this class here. One thing I want to reiterate on, if you want to go the medical route, you can. Sanitary mask, viral infection, you can go for that. The one thing, though, that I will reiterate, though, is that if you select multiple classes, it's going to up our filing fees. So let's go for this. One thing I'm going to note, though, is our filing fee is actually going to be $225 times 2. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be $450 to file this if we select Class 25 and Class 10. However, I could see why some of you might want to do that, broader coverage. The one thing that I'll note, though, is that really what our mask is it's cloth. It's a cloth mask. And so I don't really necessarily know that it belongs in the medical field category of Class 10. But for the purposes of this example, let's go for it. We'll select Class 25 and Class 10. So we're going to click on Insert Checked Entries. And now this is the part where we're going to do our Section 1A filing. So remember, there's two general types of trademark classes. There's intent to use applications and actual use applications. Intent to use applications are, the purpose of them is for you to be able to secure the brand name or your brand logo before you actually invest in all the marketing, branding that you're going to actually employ when you start selling your goods and services with that mark. So actual use application, on the other hand, means that you're already selling the goods using the mark. So in this case, in these series of episodes, we're doing actual use applications, also referred to as Section 1A applications. So we're going to click Section 1A here, and for each class, we're actually going to have to indicate. So this is basically saying that the assignment of 1A is actually on a class by class basis. So if we're selling masks under class 10, but haven't yet started selling under class 25, you could file a section 1A on class 10 and a section 1B application on class 25. So that's a little nuance just to be aware of. In this particular case, we're already selling the masks. So let's assign section 1A. And we're going to have to do it actually piecemeal is the point. So we're going to attach the specimen. Now I've prepared this beforehand. Again, it's just a PDF. Actually, in this case, it was a JPEG. I believe. No, wait, no. I did not do a JPEG. I did do a JPEG. Okay, so it was an image. And again, the image that I picked is this image here. So in this case, I'm not doing a screenshot. I'm just going to do an image. The reason why this flies is because it's a label and it's off to the side. So it's not going to be on a prominent part of the face mask. If it was on the front, you might get a decorative refusal rejection. I'm pretty confident that we wouldn't get a decorative refusal rejection in this case because the label is up on the side and it's on a corner. And what I'll do is I'll actually emphasize that in the application. So we're going to click return to form. So actually, first you have to attach it. Don't forget that. It's going to appear down here. Now you know it's uploaded because of this indication here, file uploaded. So now we can return to the form now that we know that the specimen is securely part of the application. And we're going to add a description of the specimen. So in this case, I'm just going to say a photograph of the identified goods, in this case, face masks, bearing the mark. Okay, so that should fly. And then we're going to have to enter in 2 dates. One is the first use anywhere, and the second is the first use of sale in commerce. So the first use anywhere, I've been using just the date of incorporation. First use in commerce, let's do 415. Now, one thing I want to emphasize, first use in commerce actually has to involve interstate commerce. So generally what I recommend my clients do is they use the date that they first had a sale to an out-of-state resident. Okay, it's very, very important that it involve interstate commerce in order for you to have a valid Section 1A filing that can stand up in court. You have to have out-of-state sales. That's at least the safest way to do it. Now, is the office going to check? No, they don't check. They don't have those resources. However, generally, if you want to have a mark that's valid and will actually survive litigation proceedings, it's really important that it actually invoke interstate commerce. So just keep that in mind. We're going to click assign filing basis because we've attached a specimen, the description, and the 2 dates that are critical. When we hit continue, we'll see that we have section 1A. Now, one thing I want to point out, if I click continue without doing 25, that would be a problem. So let's also assign the filing basis for class 25. So I'm going to select class 25, knit face mask being headwear, and I'm going to click section 1A. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fill in just the exact same, this exact same text I did for the last one. We're going to attach the form again. So we're going to attach the specimen, same logo, click attach. Can you guys see this? Oh, you can, good. Okay, so this is the image that we're going to submit. And when we go back to here and return to form, so it's been attached, we know that's there. Then we can add, click description of mark. So let's see, a photograph showing the identified goods bearing the mark. And again, I already explained the significance of these dates, first use anywhere and first use in commerce. When I click assign filing basis, we're almost all the way home. At this point, we now have section 1A selected for both class 10 and class 25 for our face masks. So we're going to click continue. And now all we have to do is enter in our docket information. In this case, I'm going to name this 3, and then I'm going to add Victoria's email. The one thing I want to stress, this is a really, really useful tool. If you have a team, if you have a partner, a colleague, other employees, assistants, whoever helps you, whoever's involved in this process, it's a really good idea to include their email in this section. All you have to do is include email addresses, comma separated or semicolon separated. And everyone is going to get correspondence on this application, including the initial filing. So it's a really, really useful way to keep other people that you work with in the loop. And it's also a really good idea because if you get a notice or a correspondence from the office, you're going to want to be sure that you are aware of it, because if you get an office action, you have 6 months to respond. If you miss it and don't respond, your application is going to go abandoned. So I know everyone's really busy. So fortunately, I'm super grateful to have Victoria's help. So I am going to put her email address in this box here. So once I click continue, we're basically at the very end. This is the part where we validate the application. Again, I'm signing this on behalf of my company. So this video is going to be a complete tutorial for how you can do this for your company personally, right? So in this case, we're going to select basis. It's section 1A. If we were doing a 1B, you would actually check the same box. The TEAS application has clumped this together, but essentially this is saying, yes, we understand that we're filing under actual use. So we're already using the mark to sell goods or services, in this case, face masks. The second checkbox is just saying that we're not aware of any other's right to use the mark. So we are, in fact, it's in our belief that we have a right to use this mark. And then this third checkbox is saying that there's factual support for all the statements that we made in this application. And then the fourth checkbox is just saying that we're signing under penalty of perjury. So we understand that if we lie or make an misrepresent ourselves in the application, we could be liable for fine or imprisonment. So at the very end here, they make it really easy to sign these applications. All you have to do is put your name within slashes and then add our date signed, and then adding our name. We usually do last name, comma, first name, and then the middle initial, and then we put in our title. So in this case, we're president, and then we add our phone number. And again, we're almost all the way home here. Once we click validate, it's going to take us to the very last page. And this page, we can actually review the entire application before we submit. So if you click input here, you can actually see the application. You can see if you click on this button here, it'll take us to our logo. This is a special form mark. In other words, it's a design mark. It's a logo. It's not just a word. This is the text that appears, and this is a description of the logo. This is the pixel count. Remember what I said before. It can't be greater than 944 in any one dimension. And then this right here, this is our corporate information. And here's class 10. Again, remember the designations of section 1A or section 1B are on a class by class basis. So in this case, as you can see, this section 1A information is actually the same as it is for class 25. I know it's a lot of text that comes at you, but you just got to take it line by line. So this is the class 10 section 1A information, and this here that I've highlighted is the section class 25 section 1A information. And again, if I click on these links, it'll actually take me to the PDF for that particular specimen. Now, the very last thing is I just want to note that this is going to be expensive because we filed under two classes today in today's episode. We filed under class 10 and class 25. So it's $225 per class. So 225 times 2 is how you get to $450. When we get back, the very almost to second to last thing I'm going to say, see, here's the mark here. And then if you click on specimen, you can actually go and see this image. And again, the image that I picked is just this image here. Image all by itself. Now, one quick thing that I want to say, let's say that you made a mistake or that you want to edit some part of your application. They make it really easy for you to do that. All you do is go back to modify. So you can literally go back to any section in the application and make any changes. So in this case, even if you want to change the filing basis, so let's mess with the filing basis a bit. Let's make this be consistent with the other one. So capitalize, add a period, assign filing basis, and then we can literally go through the entire application just by hitting continue because it's a session and it's going to save all our information. And you see now these are now consistent. See, so this was actually updated. So we're good to go. We're going to submit. The very last thing is you have to check this box right here. This box is just reminding you that you do not get any refunds. So if you check this. If you, for some reason, submit the wrong logo or the wrong design, no, you can't help you. No refund. You have to submit a whole new trademark application. So just keep that in mind that all sales are final, no refunds. So once you check that box, acknowledging that, all you do is click Pay Submit, and it'll take you to a payment page. We're done. The trademark is going to be filed after we fill out our credit card information. So it's going to prompt us. We're going to be able to input our credit card information. And once we do that, we are going to have a filed trademark. So you just click the credit card button, add your payment information, your address, and click submit. Now, what I want to say is that after I hit submit, I'm going to get an email. It's also going to take me to another page where I can actually download a PDF of my entire application. Now, Victoria is also going to get an email confirming the filing. So I get an email, she gets an email, and in the email and in that document that you download, that PDF, there's what's called a serial number. That serial number is going to be tied to your application throughout the entire process. So if you keep that serial number, you can always check the status of your application. All you have to do is go to tsdr.uspto.gov, and you'll be able to track the status of your trademark application. See if it's pending, if it's been assigned an examiner, what the status is. Just go to tsdr.uspto.gov and enter in your serial number, and you'll get the full status of it.